Hello everybody. Today we have with us Mr. Shibulal, former CEO of Infosys. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Fine, thank you.
What do you think about the startups today? Are they making an impact in the country?
I think, first of all, over the last couple of years, startups have become mainstream. So if I look at my generation, which was some time back, I don't think entrepreneurship was an accepted practice in India. Right? Parents won't accept it, so society will not accept it. One of the big changes I've seen today is that there are young people who are actually willing to take the risk. They are willing to take the risk. They are willing to put their time and effort and money onto something which they believe in. And more importantly, the society and the family is willing to support.
Is the startup policy of the government going to be disruptive? What changes do you think it will bring about to the country?
I think definitely the policies are in the right step, but there are three things which come to my mind when I think about these policies. I think the need of the hour is number one, simplification. We need to simplify our processes, whether it is setting up a startup, whether it is dissolving a startup. Today, if a good startup has to be set up which is compliant, you need an auditor, you need a lawyer on your side. I think that is way too, that is too costly for a startup, too costly for a young person who is trying to do something new. So number one is simplification. Number two is diversification, right? Today if you look at the startups, 80%, even more than 80%, maybe 90% is in the e-commerce, the tech space. Whereas our problems are all across. We have issues in healthcare, we have issues in clean power, we have issues in education, we have issues in logistics. So we should diversify. So our policies should support diversification into various areas, innovation in various areas, which means the investments which the government make should support this diversification. And the third, I believe, is localization. We need to have a lot more local people involved in funding, in mentoring, in doing various other support systems.
Are large companies being innovative?
So if I look at the Western world, where I have spent considerable amount of time, the ecosystem is built by a diverse set of partners. Right? Of course, you have the angel investors, you have the VCs, you have the universities, which is playing a very big part. Right? If you look at any university, any big ecosystem is built around a university. Then you have the corporates which play there, right? They do seed funding, they provide talent, they give access to customers through them, they do acquisitions. So the ecosystem has multiple players, whereas in India that maturity has not yet come. Right? Our universities are not really participating in the ecosystem yet. We don't have a policy which will allow a scientist to commercialize one of his innovations, whereas in Western world it is possible to do it. You can license, you can go out, you can commercialize. So we have an all-around ecosystem issue.
Okay. Is our country's biggest problem transparency, and what should we do about it?
So actually, I have said this before, we are a country of contradictions. It is, right? You look at it this way. When I was growing up, when I was, looking for opportunities, I told you it was a world of scarcities. And today there is a world of opportunities for young people who are coming out of college, if you have performed well, no doubt. When I was growing up, India had 30 million middle class. That was the number. Today that is 400 million, maybe 350 million. But we have 400 million people below the poverty line. I can go on and on. We produce 1 million engineers every year. We probably have few million children who are not in school.
That's true.
Right? Our dropout rate in school is quite high. These numbers will hold good for every single segment.
What do you think about accelerators in our country? There were several of them that came up and vanished.
It does definitely make an impact. Now, I tend to call ourselves an institutional angel. Right. That's, I think, the new term which I've coined. So if you look at our country, the number of people who have taken this journey and come out, the numbers are still low. If you look at Silicon Valley, for example, you will find people who have gone through this journey, succeeded, and either from a product perspective or a service perspective or a financial perspective, whichever dimension you look at it. There are enough people who have experience in going through the journey who can actually mentor newcomers into the system. When we look at India, there aren't enough people who have gone through the journey yet. There are enough people going through it today, but it will take time. So there is a vital role to be played by people who can actually mentor or help or advise people who are going through this journey.
Thank you for joining your story, sir.
Thank you very much.
Already the startup policy in place. Now it has to be implemented. I requested the chief secretary, he had taken 1 or 2 meetings. It will be driven by the industry.
To me, I think Startup India, Make in India, Digital India, they're all very good things. But we just need to make sure that we interpret them properly